Alright, let's talk about it. Westworld Season 4, Episode 4 delivered hands down one of the best episodes of the entire series tonight. We're about to talk this in full spoilers. If you're one of the last few people talking Westworld, well, I'm going to be here every week talking this show, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as well as comment down below your guys' thoughts on this freaking insane, mind-boggling episode, because I don't even know what the hell I just watched. I'm going to have to rewatch this one more time at least tonight, because this very much reminisced a lot of what contained in season 1, a lot of the twists and turns, and a lot of different parallels to what had happened in that previous season that we had gotten years before and all the revelations that came from there. So there is a lot to talk about, and I'm so excited. So first off, the way that I like to handle my Westworld content is going character by character. Now, for most of this episode, we have Bernard, and also who we find out is Zoe, which a lot of you guys last week's commented that. I did not see that coming. Maybe I'm just an idiot, but I assumed that Bernard was in the same timeline structure. But now we know the timelines have been completely different. And once again, Westworld does it in a really good way. So let's keep that there. We're going to talk Bernard and Zoe in just a second. I think her name was Zoe. Maybe I'm getting it wrong, but it is Caleb's daughter. Then let's go over to Dolores, Teddy, and her roommate. We get some certain things there. I think they're calling Dolores Christina in this world. And then of course we have Maeve, Caleb, Charlotte Hale, and the Man in Black. So let's start with Teddy and Dolores, because that's kind of the one that started to add some avenues, and I'm starting to piece together what is going on in that world. So my original concept, my original idea for that was that they're in that land before, that time where everyone who had died, one of those AIs, AI heaven in a sense, that's where they were. That is not the fact anymore. In fact, they are in the timeline we are in now, with Charlotte Hale, especially with all the revelations that we find out that it's not like 7-8 years later. No, it's 23. I think they said 23 years later. Which is what? That's crazy. Oh my god, I'm still blown away by that revelation. But obviously we know that this world that Charlotte is in, that this world that Dolores is in is not that AI heaven. Somehow Teddy is back and rebuilt and programmed back, whether it's Charlotte kind of making sure that she stays compliant and complacent, or whatever it may be. This is the same world that it is. And that is very fascinating to me to see, why is she rebuilt? Why are all these avenues happening? And the reason I say that, and the reason I know this is not AI heaven, unless somehow they're tying it into that it is AI heaven, and that all these humans who are being controlled now by the flies are also living in that world. Because as we get from her roommate, played greatly by Ariana DeBose in that one sequence, when she's talking about the flies and what had happened, and then just kind of stops and goes back and, oh, now this is what I remember. I just remember waking up, which is crazy, because that is the exact same thing that has happened to every single person who has gone about the flies. This is a creepy thing, something that I could imagine happening in our world today, and it's scary. But again, that nice subtle moment between her and Teddy was fantastic, and kind of brings it all the way back around. I'm happy James Marsden's in this season. I didn't know he was coming back for this season, and just his delight, his charm back to that character is one of the most important key parts. And I'm very excited to see more continuing of what's going on with Dolores and Teddy and that entire subplot right there. I imagine Dolores might be the key to stopping Charlotte Hale, as well as the weapon that Bernard and the crew was looking for, which we'll leave that one for last, because the revelation of that comes from the end of the revelation of Caleb, Maeve, and Charlotte. So episode picks up right back at the ending of last week's episode. The flies went into Caleb. Charlotte has Caleb. She's fascinated with what is so special about this human being. And a lot of this episode centers on fatality and mortality. It's self and everything of the state of death and living. And that is one of the most fascinating things that these AIs have really much come to learn and develop. Whether it's Charlotte, whether it's Maeve, this is one of the most intriguing aspects of this entire episode, and the thematics that they're able to layer out into there. And again, seeing this entire thing, it was awesome seeing, Maeve take on the Man in Black. It was awesome seeing Caleb shoot him at one part. But the most important parts are all the little layers in between those moments, because as they're walking through the town, it's becoming this intense road to get down to the end, to get to this demolition site so they can extract. And as they're building up to this, it's all a lie. It is all a lie and a recreation in Caleb's mind, which is insane. That all of this is fake, and it's just compliance. She's trying to make him compliant and see what happens until she breaks that mold and all that sorts of things. So leading into this, all these certain moments, one very important moment in this particular moment was showing how much Maeve had actually come to care about Caleb. And I love that point because it shows how she stayed and how Caleb, they did have other adventures after this. Because when this episode opened and they were going into that whole thing, shooting out, I was sitting there, I was like, what in the hell is happening? Like, did I miss an episode? Are we going out of bounds? Is this a recreation of something? What is going on? And in that opening scene, I started to get and piece together that something big is going to happen in this episode. A twist, a turn, maybe something is going to happen. And obviously it did. Because that scene between him and Maeve, having that conversation about what is going on and how she became fascinated with him and caring for him because he blamed her that, oh, you're just going to leave me again. I didn't leave you. I was there by your bedside the entire time. I knew the only way to keep you safe was by leaving. And she disowned herself, just vanished. And the only reason that Hale caught on to both of them is the fact of love and caring and not wanting to be alone. And it's because of all that, mortality or not, shows how much of a human being that Maeve has also become. As robotic and as careless at times as she can seem, it wasn't a power play to see how powerful she was. She was checking on Caleb because she cared. And she, in a sense, loves him. And I do wish, this is where I go, and I don't know how many more seasons they're planning for this show. I don't know if they planned an in-between season. I do wish we got a little bit more of Maeve and Caleb in like an in-between season leading into this one. I will say that. It seems like there's a journey there that we didn't fully get. We got a little bit of it in season 3, obviously, but there was a lot more of Caleb and Dolores, clearly. But I do feel like there was something there that's just a little bit missing. And I'm curious to see, obviously, from the flashbacks, so we can tell that they had some more adventures and there were some other things going on. But I love the subtlety of that. And Thandie Newton is absolutely incredible in that entire moment. I absolutely loved her performance. But it all leads up. It's her showdown between the man in black, the man who tortured her for her entire existence pretty much in the park, and Caleb trying to overcome what is going on in Charlotte. And that's where Charlotte kind of became obsessed with figuring out what is so special about Caleb that makes him be able to disobey me, because clearly in this time period of what's going on, very much harkening back to when Bernard used to, not interrogate, but interview Dolores back in season 1. This is the layers that we're getting. These are the throwbacks that we're getting. This is what she's doing with Caleb, a recreation of the same person who's done this multiple times for the last 23 years. That is insane to me. Because he breaks the mold, shoots the man in black. The man in black shoots Maeve. Maeve takes them both out at the same time. And then it leads into that big twist of Charlotte telling him what has been going on. It flashes to the future. He's sitting in that interrogation room. He runs out. Charlotte walks out, stops everyone. And it shows that her plan actually happened and they had already lost. That entire thing blew my fucking mind. Point blank blew my mind, and I loved it. I was flipping out at it. I was freaking out at it. Because it opens up so many possibilities. And this is only episode 4, and I think we only have 4 more episodes for the rest of the season. The fact that it leaves it at that makes this easily my second favorite season of Westworld so far. And if it continues to be this will be my favorite season so far. And I'm so happy that I've stuck in the ride, because I think this is a very layered out and amazing show. And also, if you have not seen Lisa Joy's, the creator of the show, with her husband, Reminiscence, very underrated movie that came out last year with Hugh Jackman. Cannot recommend that movie enough if you love Westworld, because that movie was awesome, and it feels like it would very much fit in this world. So diving back into this to kind of end this entire spoiler review, that entire sequence, I cannot wait to see next week to see how that continues. But of course it ends with Bernard and Zoe saying, your father's body's not here, but we did find the weapon. And he uncovers Maeve. And Maeve is the ultimate weapon to stopping Charlotte, to stopping all of this going on. Because this entire time I've been wondering what's been going on with Bernard. And, they've played out that it's only been a couple years, but reality is it's been more than that. It's been more than what we were expecting, and that is a very insane thing to think about. So other than that, guys, this isn't crazy. I love this episode, and I cannot wait for next week, guys. I will be heading to San Diego Comic-Con, so if you're interested in coverage, heading there. I'm going to be covering House of Dragons, going to be covering Marvel, DC, all sorts of fun things. Make sure to follow me over on all my social medias. You'll find those down below, as well as just on this YouTube channel. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and of course, until next time, I'll see you guys next Sunday. Stay classy.